Stone prevention obviously is first and foremost on any person's mind who's ever had a kidney stone. They do tend to recur. The most common reason for stone formation in the first place is dehydration. So the number one recommendation for preventing them is get better hydration, drink more water. Our guidelines would suggest you need to drink enough water to make 2,000 cc's of urine a day. So 2,000 cc's is about 70 ounces. So you can do the math and figure that out. It's a lot of water to drink. Preventing stones, obviously, if you can well hydrate, it dilutes the chemicals that cause the stones in the urinary tract and will keep stones from forming. And sometimes that's all you need to do. The Southeast United States, with the heat and humidity, the sweating, the outdoor lifestyles, the activities and such, just put everybody in this area at higher risk for stone formation. But better hydration is certainly the number one recommendation. The number two recommendation is lower the salt intake. The stone is not made out of sodium, but the sodium in your body is highly regulated, and the way your body regulates sodium spills calcium with it into your urine. So it's usually not that you're eating too much calcium, but you're eating too much salt, and the salt is what allows the stones to form more easily. So if there's two recommendations you can make for just about everyone who's a stone former, it's to drink more water and eat less salt. People are always saying, oh, well, I don't eat much salt. I don't ever salt my food or anything. Well, they're always concerned about that white salt in the salt shaker. But there's red salt, that's called ketchup. There's yellow salt, that's called mustard. There's green salt, that's called pickles. There's brown salt, that's called gravy. There's black salt, that's called soy sauce. Everything that Americans like to eat in fast food restaurants, they love it because it has salt in it. So we really need to pay attention to salt. If you're a salt former, you're going to have to give up potato chips, crackers, and salted nuts. Those things are just too salty, and you need to wean off those as best you can if you really want to prevent stones. Another important chemical for stone formation is oxalate. Calcium and oxalate bind together to form the most common type of stone, calcium oxalate. Most of the time, urinary oxalate does come from your diet. If your urinary oxalate levels are high, then lowering your dietary oxalate can make a big difference. Some of the most common sources of dietary oxalate are tea, beer, nuts, and peanut butter. There's a number of diseases that are associated with kidney stones. Many of them still revolve around the concept of being dehydrated. Intestinal diseases like Crohn's disease or irritable bowel, especially if there's a lot of diarrhea, is associated with dehydration, and malabsorption problems in the digestive tract. That can be associated with kidney stones. Any other diseases that are associated with dehydration can also have a similar effect. A specific disease called parathyroid disease is associated with calcium metabolism in your body, and hyperactivity of the parathyroid glands is something we can detect with simple blood work, but correcting that can help correct the calcium metabolism and the stones that are associated with that. The best way to target stone prevention is with a metabolic stone evaluation, which consists of two tests: a compositional analysis of the stone itself, as well as a chemical profile of your urine. When we extract a stone, or when you pass a stone at home, you can bring it into the office and we can send it off to find out exactly what it's made out of. And that's pretty important detail. We don't have to do this for every single stone, as they are usually the same composition even if it's been several years. Most stones are made out of a combination of calcium and oxalate. Those two chemicals combine in the urine to form a calcium oxalate stone. Approximately 90% of kidney stones are made out of calcium oxalate. After the stone composition is known, the second piece of useful information is a profile of your urine. We recommend a 24-hour urine collection that measures all the chemicals that are associated with stone formation. Many times this will steer us in the best direction for future prevention. The other 10% are various composition, but the second most common type of stone would be a uric acid stone. Uric acid is a chemical, a metabolite that's associated with gout, and people who have had gout have excess uric acid production in their bodies. The gout crystals form typically in the big toe or a joint. Can be very painful. Those same uric acid crystals can crystallize in the urinary tract and form uric acid stones. The uric acid is related to protein intake, and so people who eat too much protein that has a specific type of protein called a purine, I get that, it's very common in shellfish and red meats. So people who have a high protein intake will be counseled to lower their protein intake if they have uric acid stone formation. Uric acid stones commonly can be prevented by affecting the acidity of the urine, and we do that with various medications and diet restrictions and better hydration. Calcium oxalate stones will not dissolve very easily on their own. People are always asking, is there some sort of medicine that we could dissolve these stones with? Uric acid has at least a chance to dissolve them, but calcium oxalate, which is the more common one, they don't dissolve very easily. They have to be treated. So people probably heard that you can drink lemonade to help prevent stones, and while it is somewhat of an old wives' tale, there is some science to it. Citrus fruits, and of course lemons are citrus fruits, have citrate in them, and citrate as a chemical is a stone prevention chemical. So if you can increase your citrate level, you may well be able to help prevent stones. Lemonade, you'd have to drink an awful lot of lemonade to achieve that. And we do have citrate supplements in the form of a medication that sometimes people will take. But certainly if you like lemonade and are a stone former, drinking lemonade can be preventive. Of course, it's maybe easier to drink a lot of lemonade than it is to drink a lot of water for some people.